there. Welcome to Out on a Limb with Gabby Allan. I am super excited today to be able to share a table with Adrienne Dunning, and we are going to be yakking about all things fun. You know, you want to be here for it. My t-shirt today says rejection builds character. I truly do believe that. So go get rejected for all of your manuscripts. It just means you're doing the work. So exactly right. Adrienne, I absolutely love your website, and I'm super excited to hear about what you do and how you do it. So let's get started there.
All right. Well, what do? I write contemporary romance, and I've started writing paranormal cozy mystery.
Ooh.
So it's a cozy mystery with a ghost hunter.
Oh, now see how big my eyebrows are going up in my hairline? Okay, so ghost hunter. Okay, so yes. Like I love the paranormal things. Is it something where the ghost hunter is believed or disbelieved?
It's kind of interesting. She has a podcast and she writes novels, and they're all about ghosts and hauntings in the South.
As you do. So, in the South.
Yes.
So you're gonna have 747 books in this series, is that right?
I started out thinking 6, but it may be 794. I don't know.
I'll be here for all of them.
And so she goes to all these places where these hauntings have happened, and does the whole. I love ghost stories and haunted house stories.
Yes. Uh-oh, you froze.
Always love them.
There you go.
Shows I watch religiously. I love them.
Okay.
So she's got all the equipment. She goes and tries to catch the EVPs and like film stuff, see if she can catch orbs or whatever. And the little town that she lives in, her best friend, his aunt's bed and breakfast is haunted. And so the best friend is very skeptical, and this doesn't exist, but we're having a problem here. Can you come check it out? So it's been so much fun to write. The town has been fun to write, and she has been fun. And so the mysteries in this is, who are the ghosts and what happened to them? So
okay. Very cool. Now, are they recent ghosts or are they old ghosts? Like, are you also figuring out murder?
It's a mix. Yeah. This first one that I've been working on, the ghost is from the 20s. So she's a flapper.
Wow.
And then a couple of books down the line, once I get kind of the middle of the series, there'll be some that are kind of like from the 1800s or back, so it'll be kind of a mix of different time periods that she'll be looking into. So,
that is awesome. Yeah. I am so excited. You should not be talking to me. You should be writing so that I can start reading them.
So I'm hoping to put the first one out in October, just in time for Halloween.
That's perfect timing. So do you, as far as when you say putting it out in October, because we are going to have people who are readers as opposed to writers, or at least I hope there's a reader or two out there who are not, well, we're all readers too if we're writers, yes. But maybe readers who are not writers, I'd be on board with that. So when you say put it out in October, are you independently publishing these?
Okay. I am independently publishing these. So
okay.
And I go wide. So I do all of the vendors. I do Amazon, Google Books, Apple. So
do you do both ebook and paperback?
And I do. I've been doing both. Yep.
And do you do you take the paperbacks to book signings and that kind of thing?
I do. Because I love that interaction with the readers. So I try to go to as many as I can. And I'll do local ones, and I've traveled for some. So I did one, the first one we've had since COVID was in May, and we did Florence, South Carolina. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
There's I think it's called Fright Fest. It's in Maryland, first weekend in October, and I had thought about going to that, but then I realized I was already doing Collingswood Book Fair in New Jersey. Right. So I'm like, well, please don't.
Unless you clone yourself.
Right, which that would be very dangerous. I don't
imagine how much work you could get done.
I know, but I don't think this world is ready for two of me. I might break right in half and just kind of start spiraling off into the ether. So, so what led you to want to move from contemporary romances into more of a paranormal cozy? And will you be doing them both at the same time?
I'm still doing contemporary romance.
Awesome.
So I love to read all kinds of stuff. I always have. And my mother is the one who's gotten me into cozy mysteries first through British murder mystery shows.
Yes. Which one? Which one?
All of them.
Okay.
So, you know, Death in Paradise.
Yes.
And Father Brown.
Right.
And
did you
the
watch
Poirot series?
Okay.
Yes, we love Midsummer Murders. John Nettles was our favorite.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So all of those, yes.
I really like in the cozy mystery, like you are still able to put a romance in there, which is what my new the Gabby Allan stuff is going to be, like a rom-com and a cozy. I feel like it's a rom-com because it's not as in depth of a romance, I guess. So like if you're gonna watch Monster-in-Law, that's like it's an easier romance. Whereas if you're going to watch Bridgerton, that's a hard romance. I mean, they have when you're doing romance, there's like 10 steps that you want your couple to go through. And there has to be a big black moment. And then you have to like get them back together, and they both have to learn things so that they can earn their happily ever after. Whereas I feel like when you're doing paranormal cozies, you have more leeway. If when you're doing a cozy at all, you have more leeway to not necessarily give them big issues in their relationship. Like I feel like I still like the characters to have issues because I like to watch people grow. That's why I come back to different series to read. So is there a romance in these, or are you?
There will be, there will. I won't say with whom, but there will be.
You don't have to spoil anything for us. I just wanted to check with you.
Yep, there will be. Cool. At least in mind,
Yeah, that's awesome. So I keep using the word awesome, and everything really is awesome, but like in the last video, I finally had to say, yes, I'm aware how many A words I'm using right now. I was supposed to use stupendous, and so I don't know. We'll pick a different one today. I'll try. I don't know if it's going to happen. But so with and you're going to keep the same name?
Yes.
Okay. And then what are you working on contemporary wise right now?
I just got an idea for
squirrel,
because the fresh shiny ideas.
Yes.
Writer problem number 875.
Yeah.
I've got an idea for a quartet of novels as a series based in a little town that's about an hour from here. I'll fictionalize it, of course, but it's on the river, so it's a cute little waterfront town, very sweet, quaint. And I want there to be a wedding dress shop. And there's 4 ladies that work in the wedding dress shop, and they're a mix of generations and ages. And so the 4 women will be finding their happily ever afters of their own while they're running this wedding dress business.
Yes.
And I'm going to call it, I think, The Brides of Dogwood Lane, because the shop is on Dogwood Lane.
I like it. That's awesome. So just to check in again, reader type things, independently publishing. Yes. Do you find you have more leeway with that because you don't have to? Yeah. I've been doing these magically suspicious mysteries, and they're set at the Pennsylvania Ren Fair.
Yes, and I'm so excited about those, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I love Verla, and the dog Fig. I have no idea where he came from. It doesn't matter. He's so much fun. And like when I'm writing and I know that I'm giving it to a publisher, be that the Wild Rose Press, who is a small press, Kensington, who is one of the bigger ones, you're always kind of thinking, like, what are they going to be okay with? What's in the market? Is it, in your series, one of the things that you'd have to think about if you were moving it out to somewhere else would be, you know, am I going to be allowed to do 4 different women in 4 different age groups? Are people going to be okay with someone in their 20s, someone in their 50s, someone in their 70s, and someone in, you know, their 30s? Is it going to, are they going to come back and say, we need them all to be cousins and we'd all like them to be kind of within the same age range? Whereas with independent publishing, it's like, I can do whatever I want.
You're not the boss of me. I can do what I want.
Who knew that you'd still be saying that at this age, you know?
Right.
Right.
But so apropos.
Yes. But I do think there's a certain liberation.
There really is. Because I write for myself first.
Yeah.
Because if I don't love it, nobody else is going to love it. I don't think.
I think it shows.
And
look, I'm not saying that some people can't. That's ghostwriters are out there, you know, and they're making a pretty penny. They get an idea, they're told what to do, they do the thing, and then it goes under someone else's name. So it's not that it's not possible. It's just that if I'm going to put that much effort into creating a world and creating these sentences that then become paragraphs, that then become pages and chapters and books that I hope people are going to get so sucked into that they forget to shower, then I want my name on it, and I want it to be what I saw it as.
Right, exactly. I find I went the indie route really because I'm a control freak. These and I want to control every aspect. It's my product. It's my baby. It's my book. And I feel like, you know, I'm going to know what the cover should look like.
Yes.
I want to be, you know, I know what the title is and how it fits in my story.
And you don't want someone to change that.
No.
Because that happens too, you know. I mean, you have like, well, I really want it to be this, and they're like, yeah, no,
right.
I'm so sorry, but no, we're not doing that. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I just felt like I wanted the freedom to be able to do with my product whatever I wanted to do.
Yes.
And not everybody's going to like what I do, but there is a niche of readers out there that are looking for what I can give them.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to have the liberty to give them the best stories that I can.
Absolutely.
Without somebody else from the outside saying, well, you know, we don't really like your character here. We think you should change X, Y, and Z.
Right. Look, I've done, like I said earlier, I've done the variety of what's available out there.
Right.
I have done the big 5. I have done the small press. I have done the independent publishing, and there are certain things that I love about all of them, but the independent road, I am really digging so much more than I thought I would, because I don't necessarily feel the need to do the control thing. I am more like, oh, does someone else want to do that?
Do it.
Go ahead. I'm not going to be upset as long as but I do want say over the end. So like, fortunately, the Wild Rose Press has always loved my ideas for covers. So I've been able to say, hey, this is what I want, and they give it to me. Kensington was the same way. I took pictures of my town for the Tally Graver mysteries, and I sent them to him and I said, draw it off of that. And they did. So I have not gotten a cover that I'm like, oh, how am I? Should I put it in a brown paper bag? Like, I don't know. Can I just kind of slap a sticker over the front? And so, like, I can understand that part. I do dish out like the editing, the formatting. My kid is doing all of my covers because they go to SCAD, which is Savannah College of Art and Design.
Right.
So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, earn your tuition.
Right. There you go.
And so, like, there are certain parts that I do have control over. But so when we get into the how do you do what you do part, do you have like spreadsheets for each of your books so that like you're keeping track of what's happening and what needs to be followed up on?
Right. In the beginning, when I first started, I was not as organized.
Well, Wait, did you see what I did with video too? I thought
So,
fun. I mean,
so it was, trial by fire, and we learn from these things.
Absolutely.
So, but now I've started using Campfire Blaze for my series Bible.
I've heard of them,
and I love it.
Do you?
So far, anyway, I do.
Okay.
I've started using it with the Paranormal Cozy.
I love that.
And they've got, you can make a page for each character. You can load images, for your characters.
Really?
If you've got, like, inspirational pictures. There's text blocks where you can type in, what their physical attributes are, personality quirks, so that, as I'm moving through the series, I'm like, okay, what eyes did he have again? I can just go back. Okay, they were green.
I've done that. I'm like, I thought he had blue eyes, except when I searched green, there's 12 instances of green and 4 instances of blue. And look, there's a brown too. I didn't want to take that out.
Right?
Yeah. And that's called Campfire
Blaze. Yeah, Campfire Blaze. Yeah.
Okay. And is that a paid service?
It can be. You can. I started with the free version just to try it out.
Right. Well, yeah.
And
you don't want to lay down the cash.
Well, no. So I started out, with the one book. So the first Paranormal Cozy, and I started building the characters. And you can do 10 characters for free, 10 locations for free. So you get a pretty, expansive free version to try out.
Okay.
And then they've got different pricing plans. So you can pay, like, I think it's $1.85 a month for unlimited characters. Wow. Or you can buy a lifetime version for like $30 for unlimited. So, like, it's pretty cheap, so
yeah,
based on what you need, so
you can also write it off on your taxes.
Exactly.
So because you hope to be making so much money that you're looking for tax things so that you don't have to always pay everything out in taxes.
Exactly.
That's the hope. In your head, you should be like, I'm gonna make so much money that this is just going to be a drop in the bucket, and tax people can look at it.
Exactly. So, and it's a great procrastination tool, because if I'm like stuck in the writing and I'm playing Campfire Blaze, I'm like, I can tweak his little description over here, and I want to put this color on this.
I think
go down the rabbit hole.
So that's interesting, because I know people used to use Pinterest.
Yes.
And they would like do all that, but then Pinterest could become a time suck, because you were already in there looking for things to put on your Pinterest board.
And you go see and look at that lasagna recipe. Yeah. And, I want to go to that beach.
Yes. And so, that's very interesting. I might have to look into that, because so I usually do like a book Bible in Excel spread. Right. And so I'll kind of like put different tabs at the bottom, and I put like the characters. Well, actually, I have somebody who started the book Bible for me, which I appreciated. One of my critique partners, Vicki Burkholder, who's going to be on in a couple of weeks. And like, she really helped me kind of get it sorted out, because there were so many different characters that I'm like, well, who's that? I don't know, what did they do? I don't know, and because you're working with paranormal, yours is a little different, because I'm doing like werewolves and vampires and all that kind of stuff. So like, I have to remember not only who are they, what's their name, what do they do, and because of how I've set it up, I also have to know what they're supposed to do and what they can't do. So because it's I call it the Ren Fair of Misfit Paranormals, like the Island of Misfit Toys. So I love that. I know, it's so much fun. I'm like, ooh, what about a werewolf who can only change his nose and his tail? Like, how embarrassing would that be? What about a siren that's a man? Because as you
why
do,
not?
I am going to be playing with gorgons here soon. So I have a story that I want to start out, and this is going to date me, and I don't care. But if you ever watch the Brady Bunch, Leanne would say, Marsha. And so my story starts, Medusa.
I love it. I love it.
I'm like, where does your brain, like, you are really a little bit scary sometimes, but I embrace that. Yeah.
That's what makes your books fun, though.
Let's roll. I'm on
Exactly
on it. I'm actually, and I might have to get together with you on this, because I am considering starting a blog. I already got the page for it, but it's called Sleuthing with Sass.
Ooh, I love it.
Yes. And so I'm thinking of highlighting like other series like mine where they're definitely, they have all the mystery aspects, but they have characters that are a little bit snarkier, because as we had talked off camera shortly, you do the chick lit, I did the chick lit. I miss chick lit a lot, and I miss the essence of it. I miss the the really sassy, not necessarily romantic comedy, but just that the character herself was sass, and it doesn't have to be a sassy scenario. It doesn't have to be a sassy cast. She just has to be a little snark. And so I'm thinking of, because I see a lot of cozy mystery blogs, and I love them, like Chicks on the Case, Wicked Authors, but I don't necessarily feel like I am in the same kind of. That's not true. I definitely feel like my books would fit with theirs, but I also feel like so many of them are very situated already, and they've been together for years and years and years. And instead of trying to get in with someone who's already doing it, I kind of want to do my own.
That makes sense to me.
Can we just talk about me not liking control? Shh. Don't tell anyone.
Stays between us. What happens at the table stays at the table.
Right. Right.
And the rest of you too.
Right. Whoever's watching this. So, I mean, and again, there are definitely sassy sleuths within Chicks on the Case, within the different ones, but I was just like, I don't know, like I feel like it would be really cool to do one of my own, and
I think it would be
not necessarily I don't want to be by myself, because hello, out on a limb with Gabby Allan, new pen name, old, still doing Magically Suspicious.
It's just more fun with friends.
And then there's that. Look, I love other people's ideas. I really do. That is one of my favorite things to do, is like get into a brainstorming session and be like, okay, no, I like what you're doing there, but what if you also blah blah blah. And then even on my own stories where I'm like, okay, I've got this and this, what do you think about? And somebody's like, well, what about? And I'm like, oh, now that, because
there's an energy to it.
Yes,
there isn't a collective energy there when there's more than one.
Absolutely.
And just there's something about it. I can't explain it. I've never been able to, but there is a synergy there in that energy that just the ideas are just flowing.
And I
for everybody.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
And I really do. I love, they say it takes a village to raise a child. I honestly think it takes a village to write a book too.
Amen.
I'm not saying that there aren't people out there who write very solitary. And you go. If that is your thing, I have friends who do not like any input from anyone. They dream about their books. They come up with the scenes on their own. And that's awesome. But I don't function that way. And so one of the things that I've talked about with a couple of different guests so far, I love that there are as many ways to do this as there are people doing it.
Right. There's a way for everybody. Exactly. And we don't all have to be the same.
Right. Well, and you can overlap. Like you and I could do 3 out of 5 things the same. And then, then I'm on my own for like one of those. And then I overlap one of 6 other things that somebody else does. And that's part of this podcast too. I would love to encourage people to write and to see that, okay, maybe you are a reader, but maybe you've got this story in your mind and you keep thinking, well, I'm not good enough to actually do that. Well, seriously, yes, you are. I mean,
we're all storytellers, whether we acknowledge that we are or not. humans are storytellers.
Exactly. And that's how history was done. That's how people learned stuff. And even if you're writing them for yourself, or you're like, the mystery market tends to have a lot of short stories, and like magazines that will take your short stories. So I am way too talky to
I struggle with short stories too.
Yeah, 20,000 words is about the least that I can get away with. I have written a 7,500 word story recently, and I was very surprised. But it's only because it's a vignette. So it's just like a slice of time that's like this big. If I was to have to tell a whole story in 7,500 words,
it's hard.
I would cry. And but there are people who do that and suck you in so fast and then spit you right back out, and you're like, oh yeah, can I have more, sir?
Yes.
And so like, again, it's available for anyone. And I'm getting comments that people are excited to see that, like, what the different ways of doing things are. So are you a linear writer then? Like, do you start at the beginning and write your way through?
I do. I
have to.
I wish I was a plotter. I really do.
I
wish I was.
So you're a pantser.
I am wholeheartedly a pantser all the way. I've started calling myself a discovery writer because I think it sounds better.
There's another one. It's you write by the headlights. So I have a friend who writes for as far as she can see with the headlights, and then she stops and kind of thinks about what comes next, and then writes again through the headlights. That's
exactly how I am too.
Okay.
Exactly how I am.
Okay.
I do. And I'll get, I have a very basic scene outline of like the big scenes that I think I want to have. And I have pretty developed characters sketched out at the beginning.
Okay.
But the rest of it, I have no clue until I get there.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I've done it both ways. I've done it every way you probably can think of. I have gone by the seat of my pants, which some people don't like the word pantsers because technically it would be a seater or a flyer flying by, whatever. But I have done that. I tend to get into rabbit holes that I then have to get rid of, like 10 pages of crap that there's no way it's going to be in there. So then I started mind mapping. So like, who's dead in the middle, and then like, why are they dead? How are they dead? Ooh. Where are we at? And like all these little spokes.
Right.
And then from there, I start like, what are my red herrings? Who are like my characters? What, it's just ideas. It's not concrete, like Suzanne Brockman, I watched her, she was at a conference once and was doing a keynote speech, and she was talking about doing a 50 page synopsis, and I was like, no. If I have a 50-page synopsis, I better have 47 pages of story. Like, to me, that would,
I can't do that.
Would
I love people that can, because they can see so far ahead with their story, and I can't.
That kills it for me though, because then there's nothing for me to discover anymore.
Right.
But I have done like 10-page timelines. I have to call them timelines because if I call them outlines, I feel like I have to put Roman numerals in.
Ooh, that's too
like regimented.
Too school composition. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not writing a paper with a, an introduction topic sentence.
Right.
But so I kind of found my middle ground, because I would do the mind map, and then I would kind of put that into what I called a timeline. So, okay, I know I want these things to happen, so that if I started getting off onto a rabbit trail, I could pull myself back, and I knew kind of where I was going. And then fortunately, that could very easily be turned into a synopsis, which if you're going to send to a traditional publisher, either small or big, they want to know before it's done. If you're, you
Right.
know, if this is like your third or fourth book, sometimes you can sell on proposal, which would be 3
Right.
chapters and a synopsis. So I did have to be able to do that.
Do that. Right.
But with Verla, I don't. And sometimes I just do like little note cards.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that in Campfire? Like, is there a spot where you can kind of throw out like ideas?
Yes, they've got like widgets for each page, and like you could do ones for characters where you're making note cards for scenes they're going to be in. You can even write your manuscript in there. I haven't done that part yet, but they've got it set up kind of like Scrivener where you can put your manuscript in there. So that it's really fun to play around with, and I make kind of notes and, you know, scene notes or note cards in Campfire Blaze.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, like you don't want to lose something because I have to write in order. I do
too. I can't write ahead.
No, no. And there are people who do that, and they do it beautifully.
Or can write out of order.
Right.
No. Put it back together. I can't do that. Again, I wish I could, because if I got stuck, then I could just jump ahead and write that scene and then come back. Right? But no, I can't do that.
No, we suck at that. But yeah, so like when I'm doing that kind of thing, I will have kind of a flash where I'm like, ooh. So because I just put that in chapter 3, I bet towards the end it would be really good if I brought it back. So I'll make a note to myself, but I'm not ready to write the scene because I need to be able to, like, I just build the way my stories come out. They have to be built, whether or not I know what's going to happen. And I also want to like be open to something else happening too. So I'm kind of
that's what this is. The other night I was doing writing sprints, and as I was wrapping up a scene, it kind of hit me in my head what the next couple of scenes are going to be. And so I just wrote, you know, this is for a short story that I'm writing for an anthology, but like the tree lighting scene, because it's a Christmas story.
Very
so
nice.
You know, hike in the snow, you know, so just, you know, brief notes to remind me, okay, these are things I think I want to have coming up, but I'm not there yet. So
well, and you don't want to forget those, and you might not use them. Like you may, by the time you get to that point, you're like, oh, I would have loved to do the Christmas lighting scene, but I don't think that needs to actually be fleshed out because it just came out as something else. There's nothing wrong with that, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't use that for another book another time.
True.
You know what I mean? And so like, you don't want to, although I will caution you to, not you necessarily, Adrienne, but like other people, whoever's also sitting at the table with us, don't have 700 pieces of paper in a folder.
No.
I had sticky notes, I had napkins, I don't even know. And I had already used like probably a quarter of what was actually in the file. I just never took it out. So I made myself sit down and I opened the baby up and I was like, okay, so, that one was like 10 books ago. That one was yesterday. This one is never going to work. The creativity is one of those things where you can't do it incorrectly.
No, you can't.
And really, as long as you're trying and giving yourself grace to be honest with what you want and how you want it. Like you were saying earlier with the independent publishing, you want to be able to write the stories that you want for the people who want to read them. And I'm of the same mind, you know. I mean, I love that Much Ado About Nauticaling is coming out with Kensington. I hope it does wonderfully. But I love that it was a story that I really wanted to tell. It was not something that I tried to manufacture. I did it first. I definitely was manufacturing it first. And then I started kind of sliding into, this is still yours.
Right.
Why don't you make it happen the way you'd like to see it happen? Because
put your own flavor to it. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to write the whole thing. So, it's fine to have an idea, but if you can't bring the idea to fruition, I've had ideas that I'm like, I would never in my life write that story ever, because maybe it's like a thriller idea, or it's sports romance idea. But I'm not. I played soccer when I was younger, and that's it.
My athleticism extends to marching band, and that's it.
Oh, look at you, marching band. I would never be able to march and play the clarinet at the same time. What did you play?
Piccolo.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love the piccolo. I think that, we were given the flute or the clarinet, and I was like, I think I like the clarinet better. I know I blow a lot of hot air, but I'm not sure that I can make it measured. And so, like, but when I play, my poor mom, when I played softball, what they put me out past third base because I just like to do cartwheels in the grass.
I love that. Okay, I just had this image of a little tiny you doing cartwheels.
Yeah. And they're like, please don't. Well, the other team was like, hey, make sure you get the ball out over there, because it's just going to hit her foot. It won't matter. But my teammates were like, oh, please don't not over there. I was, in like elementary school or something, but I played field hockey, not so well. I played lacrosse. Not so well either. But soccer I could do. Maybe it was a foot thing as opposed to a hand coordination, because I can't play the piano with two different hands. I get, even when I'm typing, sometimes like they want to do the same thing. I have to lift my hand off because they want to do the exact same thing at the exact same time. So, and
interesting.
I do have to look at keys, because
that's very interesting.
The second that I realized that I'm not looking at the keys, I couldn't tell you where the A was to save my life. I'm like, it's around here somewhere, It
was just there.
It was. I don't know where it is. But I mean, again, even in that, there are so many different ways that you can type things. I have I have friends who write in notebooks. I think too fast to handwrite anything.
I can do character sketches, pen and paper. Like when I'm very first thinking about a story, there's something about having pen and paper. It helps me. But when I'm ready to actually start writing, I have to be on a computer, because my writing can't keep up with my brain.
Totally understandable. Well, and that's the mind mapping has to be done with a pencil, because the pen is too permanent. And I just, it like, there's something in my brain that's like, don't write, because you can't erase it. I even tried using erasable pens. No commitment here. I can't do it. But I even tried an erasable pen, and I was like, no, that looks so. It looks so disorganized to erase pen, because it never completely erases.
Completely goes away. You're right. Yeah.
And so I have to have a pencil for that. And there is something about the sound of it moving over the paper.
That scratch.
Yes. I use the big, huge artist paper, like the 18 by 24 sketch stuff, and I whip the cover over and we slap it down on a table, and I just start going all over the place. Which is interesting, because it's very chaotic looking, which I taught it once. I think it was in Canada at the Northern, what are they called? Northern Hearts, I think. I have a badge behind me that I was looking at. I didn't want you to just have to look at the back of my hair. And so it does look cute today, though.
It does look cute.
Thank you very much. Your hair is beautiful. I adore the color. That is so pretty. But so I taught it there, and the one woman was like, this is way too much. Like, I cannot handle where everything is. And I said, okay, so what if you did a grid? And she was like, what? And I said, so what if you did a grid? What if you put your square in the middle of like, so I was teaching it as a romance class, and
Right.
so like the couple was in the middle. Well,
Mhm.
I think it was, so a lot of times with romances, when I am teaching that class, you generally find that one character has far more to learn than the other one.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so even if it's a pairing, and you're going to have, you know, two protagonists, two points of view, you're still going to have one who's going, usually one that's going
Mhm.
through more than the other one. So I put them in the middle. And so I was like, okay, so if you put this square here and then we grid it,
Mhm.
is that going to work? And she was like, oh my gosh, that totally worked. And I said, "Yeah, really, like I said, there's no wrong way to do this.
No.
Sometimes you just keep on going through and saying, okay, that's not quite what I can do, but what if I shift it just a little bit this way?
Right.
Okay, I can do that, but what if I shift it just a little bit this way? And as long as it
It's all
works
about
for you,
tweaking. Yep.
well, and really, who's ever going to see that? I
Right.
mean, unless you choose. It's kind of like, I always laugh. I tend to write bigger heroines because, quite frankly, my thighs have always touched. And my mom told me when I was like 10 that that's never going to change. It doesn't matter what size I am. So well, just embrace it,
Yes.
embrace it. And
Yes.
so, you know, I was always like, well, we're not going to change a bunch of stuff, then let's just be excited with what we've got going on. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
And so I love that, and I love being able to, you know, put different heroines in, but that, to me, that was not going to be part of what she needed to go through.
Right.
You know, so while I might
Mhm.
make a note on that, and as you know, I'm teaching the classes and I'm saying, you know, put, like you were saying with Campfire, put that off to the side.
Mhm.
You do need to know the information, but you don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be like a something that they're going through, but you still want to know it. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's just, it's very interesting, you know, how we even get the ideas and stuff and where your
It
brain
is.
is going.
Absolutely. And sometimes you're sitting there going, where did that come from? Okay, but where?
And what am I supposed to do with it?
Yeah. This was not what I was thinking. Why are you, why?
Yes, yes. And then, I mean, and part of the beauty too is figuring out where that goes, you know?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
and making it part of what you're doing, you know? And
Yes.
I think that there are people who feel like they have to be perfect before they get started. And
Oh, if you're waiting to be perfect, it'll never happen.
exactly. I have been publishing for 16 years. I still have moments where I'm like,
yep,
oh, everybody's going to figure out that I'm a total fraud and have no idea
yeah.
what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Because I think, like you said earlier, we're all storytellers.
Yes,
It depends
absolutely.
on how you tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different pieces of who you are. I mean,
absolutely.
I think a lot of the stories that I tend to gravitate towards are stories that I read and I'm like, there I am.
Yes,
I feel
you can see pieces of yourself in
yes.
there. Yep.
Absolutely. So,
yes.
and again, there are that many people out there that even if it's not a majority, that doesn't mean that it's not going to serve that handful of people who have been
yes.
desperately waiting for what you have to put out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, I feel like I was going somewhere with originally when I said I write bigger heroines, and my poor little brain is running, and I'm like, I don't know what your point was there. Yep. I mean, I'm glad I said what I said, but I still am not entirely sure why I started that. That's okay.
Well, that's all right. It's okay. We went with it. That's fine.
More tea, please. Oh man. All right. Well, oh my, of course, we're rolling in on the 45 because
that's okay.
If he tries to do 30, Gabby, I don't know, whoever I am right now, tries to roll in on the 30-minute mark, and it's just not, I don't think it's ever going to happen unless I'm just by myself talking, because 30 is probably about my limit. That's not true.
When you get two writers together, there's so much that you can talk about.
Yes.
And that you want to talk about.
Right.
I mean, we could sit here for hours.
I know.
and have a grand old time.
I know. Somebody at work is like, all right, so I got 8-hour shift and it looks like they just posted a 10-hour video. So that means I'll have to come back tomorrow.
Finish it
too. I don't know if YouTube would even allow that. Actually, because my kid was watching some video game play or something for like 10 hours. Did they stop it at some point and at least go to the bathroom? Like, did they eat? And she's like, you're such a mom. I thought everybody's got to eat.
And everybody's got to go to the bathroom.
Right. I'm hoping at least. As far as I know, that's how life, that hasn't changed, has it? I'm not that old, am I? Oh my gosh. Well, I have had such a blast talking to you.
Oh, I have too. I'm so glad you let me come on. I have to
giggle a little bit that we've actually never met each other. And
well, we actually did one time.
That's right. We
one
did.
Time at Roanoke.
Roanoke. That's right. Okay. I thought about that earlier because I was like, where do I know you from? And why am I not pulling that up? But okay, good. Thank you for reminding me because sometimes my brain,
because it's been several years since then.
Okay. Yes. Now I feel a little better because I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, you did the thing where you should have remembered and you didn't remember. And quite frankly, again, human. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
But I kept trying to think as I kept thinking, we have met. Yeah, but I can't remember where. And then I was like, maybe we haven't. Maybe we've just interacted online so much that I'm like, I know you. I know exactly.
Yep. Well, especially after the last year where you've known everybody through a screen. So
it's very hard to separate where things are coming from. So
yes.
But this has been a blast. So tell us.
It absolutely has.
Thank you. So website.
Yes.
Are you
AdrienneDunning.com. Yes.
Okay. And that's ADRIENNE.
Yes.
DUNNING.
Got it.
A lot of N's.
Got it.
Good
a lot
job.
of N's.
That's very nice. Very nifty. Like the N's. We use way too many A's here on.
Yes, we should have done N words today.
We should have. All right. Well,
since I had so many N's in my name.
Right. The next time you come on, we'll do that because you're not going to escape me now. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm thrilled because this has been a blast and I totally want to do this again.
Awesome. Okay, so that's your website and you're working on the paranormal mysteries, but they are not out yet.
Right.
So what currently can people find for you so that they can start reading your awesomeness?
So they can read my contemporary romances. Okay. And I have one series that's set in Scotland. Ooh. And the first book is Seeking Solace. Oh. And then there
see that.
Yes. And then there are 3 books after that. The third is coming out in September.
Okay.
And they're all about a group of people that started out in the first book in Seeking Solace. So it kind of continues. Awesome. I didn't intend that to be a series, but after people read the first book, they kept asking, well, what about his friends? Like, what's their story? So I had to turn it into a series.
I love when that happens. You're like, well, the series is done. And they're like, what? No.
Exactly.
No.
I was like, a standalone turned into a series. So there you go.
Although really, is there anything entirely wrong with that? I mean, the fact that people
not at all
invested in your people that just populate.
I loved it when they said that. I said, I'm going to have to work. I mean, I didn't intend to, I hadn't expected it, but then once people started asking about it, the ideas started coming. So I was like, they do have stories. I've got to tell them. So
hey, and we as readers appreciate that. Absolutely. I am totally on board with that. So and then
I've got one other book that's not in that series that is a contemporary romance, but there's a matchmaking ghost involved.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So that was fun.
Matchmaking ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's called
Revolution.
Okay. And you are available wide, you said?
Yes.
So that means for anyone who doesn't know that you don't only have to buy it on the Zon,
That is correct.
You can buy it other places. I'm just saying.
Yep.
So very, very cool. Well, I am hoping that Roanoke comes back. I know right now.
I do too.
I know.
I do too.
They've said that were we only at one together?
Yes.
Okay.
We were at one together.
Because I think I did two, and I don't.
I couldn't go the next year.
Oh.
And then COVID happened. So.
Yeah. I was very much looking forward to it. Roanoke author.
I was too. I loved that one.
Yeah.
I loved that signing.
For anyone who doesn't know, it's in Roanoke, Virginia, or was. I'm really hoping that they come back because they have an amazing array, and there's 2 more A words.
Yes.
A beautiful, bountiful basket.
Yes.
Of authors of a variety of different genres, and obviously awesome people go to it, because right here we're looking at one, and not me.
No. We've got 2 awesome authors.
Oh, okay, well, I'll go in with the awesome. That's another A word, though.
It's another A word. And
creative characters. We can be C's right now.
Okay.
A nicer C word than anything else. Oh my gosh. But yes, so okay, well, I'm super excited to get my hands on some more of your stuff, and we will absolutely do this again. Please let me know when you are throwing out your paranormal stuff. Okay. I would love to have you back on when that is out and about.
All right.
I want to talk about that. And I will contact you about Sleuthing with Sass, because
please do.
I feel like that's going to be a lot of fun.
I think it will be too.
The place to be.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. This was such a blast.
Thank you. I have loved every minute.
Oh, good. Thank God. You don't want to get off and you're like, I hope I never have to do that again.
No fear of that.
Should have looked into her more before I agreed to come on.
No. I have looked forward to this because I knew it was going to be fun, and it was.
Oh, good. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming on and hanging out with myself and Adrienne. And if you have any questions that either of us can answer, go ahead and pop them into the comments section. We'll do our best to give you some answers to what you're looking to learn. So this again was Out on a Limb with Gabby. I almost said Misty Simon. This was Out on a Limb with Gabby Allan, who has no idea who she is, with the fabulous, because we're in the F's now, in Gunning. And I hope that you have an amazing day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There we go. No.
Oh,
hold on. I'm gonna have to take that out. Nope.